All right, all right, all right. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's X Space regarding sustainable Web3 game economies. My name is LM behind the screen, and I'm thrilled to have you here today as we explore sustainability in Web3, which has been a really core and important topic. As many of you know, the gaming industry is undergoing a transformative shift with the advent of Web3 technologies. Blockchain and decentralized systems are introducing new paradigms for how game economies can function, bringing concepts like true digital ownership, play-to-earn models, and decentralized governance into the mainstream. However, these exciting advancements come with challenges. Ensuring the sustainability of these new game economies is paramount. This means creating economic models that are not only profitable, but are fair and engaging for players over the long term. And yeah, like I said, this is LM, and before we start, I am going to set up some ground rules, and then we're gonna kick this off. With a question. The way I'd like to do this and moderate this is that I'm gonna ask a question to someone, and then they're gonna choose who the next person is. Um, that's gonna answer either the same question or just add something, add a note or whatever they'd like. So uh, to get started on my side, as I said before, my name is Helen behind the account, and I am the speaker slash Telegram manager of Castle of Blackwater. I will be your new host today. Castle of Blackwater, for those who are new, is a 2D social deduction game where players are split between three factions, each with their unique ability to cater to various playstyles. The protectors are the good people here. Their aim is to complete tasks in order to fill the XP bar, in order to win, as well as communicating with each other and voting out the satanic. The satanic are the killers. Their job is to kill protectors and trick them into voting each other out to win. And the last is the hybrid faction, the Forgotten. The Forgotten is a unique class where the win condition is for players to complete one easy, one medium, and one hard task, as well as during the night where they transform into the werewolf, they must kill one protector and one satanic to win. Something that is really unique in our game, as I've said, a lot of times, and people have commented on it, is that once you die, you don't become useless like in other games. For example, Among Us. In our game, when you die, you become a cute little ghost that collects something we call soul points, and with those, you can purchase power-ups that tell people that are alive. Before we start, I just want to mention that we do host weekly game nights in our Discord server with various partners, and we also recently launched on Hyperplay, so do come and check us out. Um, without out of the way, we can start. And
I just want to say that the spirit collection mechanic is a great blue shell like comeback thing for those who take an early hit. Such a cool idea, and I'm glad to see it implemented. So congrats.
yeah, thank you very much on that. Yeah, it's really an amazing mechanic. So now that we got it out of the way, let's start with some introductions. I'm gonna start with Layer 1X. Please give us a quick elevator pitch of who you guys are, what do you do, and who is behind the account.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep, go right ahead.
Perfect. Hey, everybody. My name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X. Layer 1X is a fully decentralized, bridgeless, interoperable chain. We've built our own VM and consensus that allows us to basically natively interact with different chains, both VM and non EVM. That allow us to help users retain their assets. It also allows us to move not only assets but data and logic as well. So we're able to do some pretty interesting things, all without bridges and all without sacrificing speed, security, and yeah, so looking forward to today's topic. Thanks for having us as always. It's always been good to be on AMAs with you. We've been on quite a few, it seems like, lately.
Yep, thank you very much for the introduction. You guys are amazing, and likewise, we've been together in a lot of these spaces, so it's always great to see you here. Let's continue with Silver Fox again. Introduce yourself. Who is behind the account? What is your project about?
Sorry, was that me?
Yep, that was you.
Okay.
That's
Sorry. I,
yeah.
I just cut out for just a second there, and I was like, that was me, wasn't it?
No worries, no worries. So
This
what I
is
ask is
not
that
definitely not my first time with this crew. You might recognize my voice. I've been in a bunch of spaces with y'all. This is Gabriel, originally from or still from New Spirits, but I'm helping some friends out over at Silver Fox. Silver Fox is it's a new, fully decentralized, full stack gaming ecosystem. So we're looking at providing all of the services and all of the tech and tools and integration things that you need to bring game experiences into Web3 without having to worry about all of the kind of stumbling blocks and issues that come along with developing smart contracts, bringing in a whole different development team, worrying about launching a token, sustaining that token just in order to get some funding, just to get your project off the ground. So we're really kind of trying to tackle all aspects of game development, from fundraising through development to onboarding and exchanging new users, all of that stuff. So it's a pretty exciting project, which is why I'm so excited to be here today repping Silver Fox. So I'll leave it to the rest to introduce themselves, because I'm excited for this topic.
all right, all right. That sounds amazing. So let's continue. Actually, I just realized that I said I would let you guys pick who speaks next, but we're gonna do that once we start the questions. So next person, DeFi Zoo Racer. Welcome, and give us a bit of an introduction about yourself and what are you doing?
Yeah, yes. Happy to be here. I think this may be the second or third time I've been on with Castle of Blackwater, and I've definitely seen you guys, around the around the timeline and whatnot. I think you've done some stuff with the Catalyst OG, which is also a Web3 gaming guild I'm in. But today I'm representing the player gaming blockchain. We're building a gaming focused subnet on Avalanche, currently on testnet right now. But I would say, our ecosystem does kind of have a unique aspect to it, because we do have a complete gaming ecosystem that was bootstrapped and, built and kind of derived from gamified DeFi and NFT platform over the past 3 years, where all the gamer ecosystem tokens were 80%, 80+% were distributed to the community, and probably the most fair launch of most projects I've seen, where where the project launches, there's no tokens, and then 80+% of whatever's getting distributed was going out to the community for the first 3 years of the project. So now that gaming ecosystem is being transitioned to the player gaming blockchain, where with Avalanche and Ava Labs, we're getting a lot more developer support, getting connected in with different projects and partners, and definitely excited for the next stage here, to launch a new home for the gamer ecosystem on player gaming blockchain. Like I said, we're on testnet now. Probably going to be mainnet towards the end of this month, just kind of sorting out some final details. So definitely going to be more to come there on the on player Twitter handle account there in my bio there. But happy to be here. Happy to discuss sustainable Web3 game economies. I know just participating in many different ones, just as a gamer myself, it seems like a lot of them are still trying to figure it out. Some are doing good things, some maybe not so good things, but I think we can all kind of learn from each other and get on the right path here.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. And I appreciate those, ending words, because Castle of Blackwater in itself was built around sustainability, having a sustainable system where we are product focused. So we focus on, you know, giving to players a game that's actually engaging and fun to play, and then looking at how we can balance that around Web3 and the economics around it. So Again, thank you very much. Next up on the list, Mark D. Welcome, welcome. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you. Oh, seems like he might have gotten a rug. It's fine. We'll get back to him later on. So, next up, Sango, Cryptopia. Sorry if I said that wrong. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you guys are about.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Sometimes my connection rocks me. But my name is Sangho. I'm the CEO of Cryptopia, and I see many familiar faces. Yesterday I was in a space talking about making onboarding great again. So nice to meet you all again here. Cryptopia is a blockchain game, fully on-chain. We like to call ourselves an MMO CRPG, so a massively multiplayer on-chain RPG. We think we distinguish ourselves by our sustainability. So this is spot on, this discussion. So I hope that you all can agree at the end that we are sustainable. At least we try to crack the code. And we believe that we should lower the barriers to enter any game, any Web3 game. So we remove the difficulties, the complexities. So we have our own multi-signature wallet integrated into the game engine. So you don't need the wallet, you don't need MetaMask, anything. We are multi-chain and we launch on Scale, because Scale, then you also don't have the requirement of a gas token. So especially for people outside of the blockchain space, they don't need to, jump through all kinds of hoops, KYC, go to an exchange, buy a token, bridge it, send it, etc., etc. They just can download a game, have a wallet, start playing and start earning. And lastly, we are free to play and earn. So you don't need to buy an NFT, you don't need to hold tokens. We believe there is a fair exchange of value when you spend your time with us. We benefit from that because you add value to our ecosystem. And in return, you should then get something back. And we give our game token, back as a reward. Of course, we don't give it out in large quantities. And of course, we have to make sure that we at the end of the day have more value locked in than at the beginning of the day. So we have many ways to try to stimulate that, but it's all from the philosophy of if you give, you get back. That's I think also essential in trying to have a sustainable economy in a game. We are in a closed demo. We're going to open demo soon. We have a large airdrop going on now, where we also are going to use the participants of that airdrop in the game. So we have a mission system, and now it's only social sharing and stuff, but soon we will have them install our game and perform quests and really contribute to our gaming ecosystem. I'm looking forward really, really very much to the ideas, because indeed what the last speaker said and what you also repeated, we have to learn from each other. It's a whole new territory, a whole different ball game. And we can definitely learn from each other. And I said we try to crack the code, and with that I don't mean that we have the right way or the only way, because so many games are different with so many different target groups, geographies, etc., etc. So I believe there are many ways to get there. So I look forward to the discussion here. Thank you.
Thank you very much again for telling us about you. See, I heard, if I heard correct, you said MMO CRPG, and you guys are also focusing on sustainability. That's music to my ears, especially since I've been delving quite a lot in MMOs lately. So I'll check you guys out. Thank you very much. Now, it's my understanding that Mark D is all good now. So the stage is yours. Tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Appreciate that. Actually, what I do is open Hyperplay and start downloading stuff while I shouldn't be downloading, while watching a video and trying to be on a space at the same time. And it kind of froze my computer. So sorry about that little delay, but it's because I was trying to download Castle of Blackwater. I didn't realize you guys were on Hyperplay. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I got to get this. So,
yep, we just launched today. So.
That's awesome, by the way. They're definitely getting quite a collection of games on there. I'm pretty pumped about that. So a little introduction on Mark, and also known as King Snooch, content creator, often in spaces. I'm kind of all over the place with spaces. Dad, gamer, and full-time in Web3.
Amazing to hear that you're a passionate person. Great. Really excited to hear that. And last person who is to introduce themselves is Sir Choice, whom I've seen recently in some of the VCs I've been in. So please come up. The stage is yours. Tell us who you are and tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having us here, for having me here. For the audience, I see so many familiar faces, so always a pleasure to share the panel with you guys, learning a lot from you legends. I do feel that I'm just like giving my first baby steps, and I'm always like matched with so many legends out there that is just learning for me. I'm Choice. I'm based in Colombia, South America here. So I'm in Cali, the capital city of the salsa, for those who like dancing. And I jumped into the Web3 world in 2021 with the Axie Infinity boom, where I saw an opportunity to feed my family. I'm also a father, got a little boy who's 5. My daughter is turning 9 soon. And yeah, Web3 gaming brought me into Web3 through Axie Infinity. I already was a gamer all of my life, had a gaming son with 30 gaming computers and more than 2,000 community members going to play regular Web2 titles on a daily basis, working 24/7. So guys would basically live in the place. It was amazing, and it got me to get to know how gamers behave and what gamers do and what gamers like. And on August last year, I jumped into building the network for Thrust, which is the Web3 Discord alternative, got powered with Web3 native technology so that you can monetize your community and have every persona on the Web3 industry actually um, adding value to your project. We often see how there are exchanges and there are tokens being launched and there's people moving NFTs from one place to another, but how often do the creators actually get to profit from all of these hype and from all of these talks? So we're changing that through some nice mechanics that we're adding to our community platform. And yeah, I the transition to the Web3, the journey in the Web3 space for me has been quite crazy. I started coaching for Liberty, a Web3 gaming guild that was backed by Animoca Brands. And so I had the chance to support scholars from Southeast Asia and Latin America and helping bring money through gaming. We launched several projects, but it was all extracting value from them. As soon as we saw the projects and the tokens going down, then the community would switch to a new project, which is like when I understood that the Web3 currently doesn't have the real gamers. Or there are some, I cannot say not, but the real gamers are still out there and they don't really know much about Web3. So we need to change that. About the topic of the day, like some of the things I have been jumping from space to another, but about the Web3 gaming economies. This morning I was joining a webinar where they were trying to integrate AI to support with the creation of the tokenomics for the projects. And I couldn't help it but to throw a question in there because, with all the respect, I see so many projects and so many builders doing their best. And I know that we're all here pioneering and bringing new techniques and creating new mechanics to try to hit the target. But I had to throw the question. I was saying, what projects? Because they said that they were feeding more than 50 projects to the database so that the AI would throw them suggestions and alternatives to their tokenomics, right? So I told them what kind of projects are they feeding to their database and what projects, like are you actually betting them, or what projects from the Web3 space do you believe that had successful or sustainable tokenomics? So I'm turning introduction into a kind of a question, but yeah, that's a lot about me. I'll let the conversation flow. Happy to be here and looking forward to adding value when possible.
Yeah, again, thank you very much. We'll go on with, our we'll go with the set flow of discussion, and if we have time by the end, we will make sure. I will make sure to get back to those questions later on. So now that the introduction are through, I just want to remind everyone to share this space, get their friends in, because we're about to have a really, really interesting and informative discussion. So bring your friends in here, bring everybody in here, because it's gonna be really, really interesting. So let's get straight into it. So, as we delve into the topic of sustainable Web3 game economies, it's crucial to establish a common understanding of what we mean by sustainability in this context. Web3 games leverage blockchain technology to create decentralized and player driven economies, but sustainability encompasses various aspects, including economic viability and long term player engagement. So, here is my question for you guys today. What does a sustainable Web3 game economy look like to you guys? What do you consider a sustainable Web3 game economy? Um, let's start with layer one.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you take the gaming aspect out of it, in my opinion, meme coins and a lot of DeFi projects are basically built on the same game mechanics as most games are. And what I mean by that is, if you look at, let's just take meme coins as an example. The number one gaming mechanic behind their whole tokenomics and ecosystem is a game called Prisoner's Dilemma, and basically it's who's gonna basically sell their bag first and reign supreme and leave everybody else holding the bag. Um, I'm not saying that all projects are like that, but I would say a mass majority of them are out there. Or you've got the ones that rely on more and more users coming in to sustain their ecosystem. So when you bring those type of gaming mechanics into a game, um, if you just have people that are coming in not to play the game but actually um, are there for the investment side of things, those guys will probably most likely dump on you. And then a game has to worry about the whole tokenomics of their ecosystem. And same thing if they were doing NFTs, all that kind of stuff. And so now they're drawing attention away from the game, and it can cause a real problem in my opinion. And so no matter how good a chain is providing utility and functionality to these games, it still relies on the games to set up proper tokenomics if they decide to go that route with their game, or however they decide to monetize their game for the end user. It just needs to work, and it has to make sense. It starts leading into like the user experience, right? Good UI, good overall kind of flow. Does it feel right? Does it not feel right? Am I forced into something? Am I not forced into something? I mean, there's just so many different variables that can come into this, but if you, like I said, peel back and look at the core mechanics of a token, if it's used, how it's used, what gaming mechanics behind it will definitely determine the longevity of any game or project out there.
Thank you very much, Layer One, for that. So I think I kind of agree when it comes to it. So a lot of Web3 games, especially, they share many similarities when it comes to their models in general and how they in themselves create sustainability. But I think that as we've entered, with 2024 and the coming years, I think that more projects have started to realize the value that there is behind focusing on their actual product, and as such, we're seeing a wave of game projects that are focusing on just being sustainable and keeping long-term player engagement in there. So I think it's really interesting what you said right there. Is there anyone that wants to add to that or perhaps give their own take? Yep, so I see DeFi Zoo Racer. Please come up and give us your opinion on that.
Yeah, so one thing that I've recognized that at least from some of the gameplay experiences and like games that I've at least participated in their economy somewhat, for it to really be sustainable, I think there has to be more of a focus on the side of like the assets in the game and building some kind of intrinsic value from the things you're actually using inside the games, and less of a focus on the token where like almost like the token interacts with the assets, and that's giving the assets value more than let me just get this token and extract the value from the token, because then that's just gonna destroy the token. So I think for it really to be a sustainable economy, the the token almost has to give the assets in the game and, you know, give players, you know, some kind of utility or, you know, further like, you know, almost giving them some kind of delayed gratification where, you know, they want to collect more assets or upgrade them or, you know, make them more powerful or something like that, where it's kind of like putting that value back into the game. As long as, you know, the game itself and the gameplay loop and there's, you know, reasons to come back and play, and there you know, it can be a very, you know, multifaceted, you know, thing to actually make a sustainable economy. And like I said, I don't think there has been a project that has fully figured it out yet, because you know, obviously we're kind of all competing for attention as well. So it's an attention economy too. It's like how do you sustain the attention of you know, the limited player base we do have now, but you know, that's why I said, you know, we can all kind of work together and learn from each other, and it doesn't have to be like a huge PvP thing when we're all you know, kind of working towards similar goals here, at least, you know, on the building side of things.
Thank you very much for your opinion. And at this point, I just want to mention that everyone that's in the chat right now, make sure to send a reaction through so that the engagement for this space gets boosted and more people join us to hear this awesome conversation. Thank you very much, DeFi Zuracer, for your opinion. I think that I definitely agree with that. There are a lot of interesting mechanics that go into keeping players retained and in that manner creating sustainability. You know, we in Castle of Blackwater, we use bounties at the moment, and we also have quite a few systems that we plan to implement. And other games, like for example, Pirate Nation, they utilize quests in order to get people to complete those quests and get the materials needed to build cool swords, etc. So I think that it's definitely a multi-layered approach you take in order to create total sustainability. So thank you very much. Next up is Silver Fox. Please come up and give us your own take on this.
Sure. I think that a lot of times when we talk about sustainability, we talk about the obvious things like, okay, we need to keep players in, we need to keep, you know, we need to balance the value. You know, this was not usually discussed. You know, even a year ago, this wasn't discussed about making sure that there's value creators inside of your game as well as extractors, because you have to have those balance. If you don't have those balance, then obviously it will fall apart at some point. And we all kind of discussed that. The prisoner's dilemma: first out is, you know, it gets the most benefit, and that kind of thing. And obviously that kind of put a sour taste in a lot of non-crypto enthusiasts, you know, traditional gamers who were just like thinking, why would I go play a Web3 game when, you know, there's just bunch of people looking to bilk me for my coin, and I don't feel good about that. I'll go and spend, you know, 50, 100,000 in a year on a game, if it's free to play, you know, and not even care. But if somebody is just stealing my money, then I feel bad about it. But what I want to make sure that we address when we're talking about sustainability is the operational cost for the developer or whoever is providing the service to run the game. There's a lot of things that go into keeping a game up, live, interesting, with new content. You know, we call it live ops in the gaming world. But this is a huge part of what makes a game sustainable, is if the game is engaging or lucrative for the developer. Like, can the developer basically keep the lights on? And a lot of times we don't talk about that when we talk about a sustainable economy for a game. We're usually talking about, you know, the user's experience. But without the developer, you know, coming up with new updates, etc., the game just falls apart. You know, even games that have you know, a following, we'll call it whatever, a niche following, but it is a following. If there isn't enough revenue coming in for the developers to sustain that, then the game ultimately dies and is not sustainable. So I just wanted to make sure that we added that sustainability also goes for developers to Think of the developers, guys.
Yep, rightly so. Think of the developers, and I think that when you mentioned that, the prisoner's dilemma and everything surrounding that, I was speaking with some people recently, and they said that one of the issues that play to earn games and in general Web3 games face is that they market themselves as make money schemes, right? Like you go to players and you hit them with the come play our game as a job. It shouldn't be like that. It should be more of like come enjoy our game and you also earn some
Yeah.
money on the side, right? That
Enjoying
should
the
be the
game has to be the primary driver, because without that intrinsic value, the extrinsic will be extracted and it will no longer exist and it will collapse. This is just bottom
exactly.
line.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point I want to make. Rightly said so, and I think that more people should focus on should focus on the fact that gamers they want to have fun to the point where they're willing to spend money to have more fun. Look at games like Fortnite, right? They are free to play games, and they made I think it was around 8 billion in a year. So again, when you're thinking about sustainability, you need to also think about the devs, but at the same time how do you keep your players around your ecosystem, right? So you need them engaging, uh, interesting engagement systems, right? You need a game where people will want to recommend it to their friends and spend time. I remember, especially with the first generation play to earn games, most people wouldn't recommend those games to their friends because, like, they seemed like outright scams, right? Because I remember there were a lot of card games that promised to
Well, they
give you
were.
money.
They were
Yeah,
outright
exactly.
scams. Let's
So
be honest.
let's move on. Sango, come up and give us your opinion. Then we'll go to Mark D. Oop, did we have another person get ragged here?
No, I was
Oh,
muted.
okay.
Sorry. I have
No
two
worries,
mute
no worries.
buttons. One on my microphone and one apparently in the Twitter UI. Sorry for
That's
that.
fine.
I,
Go
I
ahead.
was saying I agree with all the things that were said by the previous one persons. I agree with it, and they were also on my list. Especially about if you talk about sustainability, you need to keep the lights on, right? So what Silver Fox was saying about think about the developer or think about the operational cost is very important. Otherwise, you can't run it, even though maybe your players or your gamers see a lot of value and have a lot of fun and intrinsic value. At the end of the day, you need to keep it working, right? So that's very important. For me, more at a general level, it is a net value accumulation that makes a game sustainable. And there are many important aspects to that. And I think one of the most difficult ones is that you have to take into account the life cycle of a gamer. And that means that a gamer can be very excited in the beginning and then moves into maybe, business as usual. Maybe it takes a pause. The real life kicks in. They take a pause, come back sometimes, or maybe not, or maybe never, right? So you need to have new people continuously in your game. But you also need to cater for the people that are already there. So it's really a very delicate balance, trying to understand the life cycle of your gamer and try to be there, try to be as relevant as possible for them, to keep their value, or not their value, it sounds a bit negative, but to keep it their intrinsic value. So I think that's a very important one. But also for them to see the opportunities to accumulate value by playing your game realistic. I think that's a very difficult one. It's also a difficult sentence, sorry for that. But what I mean is that if you play it, you need to have the feeling that you can reach specific or certain goals. If it's really, really a long shot and you can't achieve it, then you get disinterested and then you just bounce. So that is very, very difficult because gamers have different motivations also. So I forgot who said it, but some gamers are more for the monetary value, which is fine, right? Because we are an open economy, we are a blockchain game, so we should not ignore that. And you should build a robust system that you can sort of absorb the shocks of people that want to extract. But the same player can come back the next day and be a contributor and keeps the value in, right? So people can shift their motivations. And I think that's also why it's so very difficult to create a sustainable economy, because of all these aspects. But sustainability for me, and that was the question, is about net value accumulation, and it can be done via various ways. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. And, I definitely agree. And I mean, it all links back to the point that we made previously, right? that the people, they need to, and especially developers, they need to focus on actually creating fun to play systems first, and then integrating the play to earn aspect on it. Because like I said, if you go to gamers and you say, hey, you can actually come play in here and make it your primary job, then they're likely to ignore it, think that it's a scam, and just outright not give any attention to it. But when you're offering them a fun to play game, something that they can spend time on and relate to, then that just makes a difference. So um, let's move on to Mark D. Did you want to make a comment or say something for this?
I think it's pretty much been covered, but yeah, we can move on to the next one.
All right, that's fine. So, next question. Now that we talked about a bit about sustainability and the play to earn system, let's move on to tokenomics a little bit right here. So, I mean, the design of token ecosystems plays a really essential role when it comes to Web3 games, right? So, uh, properly structured tokens can drive engagement and value creation, although poor design can also lead to inflation or, at worst, economic collapse. So, for example, a good example here would be to say that tokens, they have a higher utility beyond speculative trading, right? So a lot of games integrate them into gameplay mechanics, governance, or community rewards in order to create a stable and engaging ecosystem. And that's one of the benefits of the blockchain as well, that it allows you to kind of enhance that rewarding structure that exists today in Web 2. So my question for you guys here is, how should tokens, in your opinion, be structured within Web3 games to support a sustainable economy? What do you think? What do you think is the right way to kind of integrate tokens within a gaming project in order to foster sustainability? I see two hands raised up. Let's go with third choice.
Thanks. So thinking about tokenomics and just after coming from that webinar this morning, I think that my personal opinion, it's not really necessary to deploy a token with a gaming project. I mean, there have been people and communities building economy models around games because they were that good. Let's say Diablo or World of Warcraft or even League of Legends, like people selling or trading assets or accounts because they just couldn't do it. But I do not believe that is a must for every gaming project to launch a token. And by the way, a lot of projects out there just saw the TGE or these events as an opportunity to actually gather value and then get away with it, which I definitely believe was wrong, and I think that has brought the wrong sentiments to the space. So, not necessarily a fan of deploying tokenomics with every gaming project, but I think that if a token is going to be deployed on a specific project, that project needs to be making sure that the tokens are going to be given to the right people because of the right contribution. I'm not a big fan of the airdrops because I do think that they're just bringing people that is going to extract value and walk away. You are not retaining gamers, you are not gaining gamers, you're just feeding money to the wrong people that is coming to farm it and walk away. So, not a big fan of that, nor a big fan of, even though some people might disagree, KOL rounds or, rounds where you just giving lower price of your token to people that will it truly contribute to your project. So I wanted to talk about it and ask you, do you guys believe that it's really necessary to deploy tokens with a game? Or, meme coins are giving us a big lesson here. Because you see meme coins, some of them are launched in a fair way. So everybody knows that price will go up and will go down, but it's automatic market making. There's no one getting extra value because he jumped in early, so everything's fair, and there's no risk of getting robbed. And now, again, if you have a game and you're launching a token, at least make sure that the people that is going to earn that token is truly playing your game and enjoying it, and maybe give it as a in-quest reward for achieving some milestone within your game and grinding it, not just because of um, them farming and reposting something on socials and then walking away.
Yeah, thank you very much. And again, I think that the thing that you're talking about links back to the concept of the very popular recently play to airdrop campaigns where there are a lot of projects that are just giving out tokens. I mean, it works, but at the same time, you also need to have a really, really thought out structure behind hosting such things where you give out tokens, etc. I don't really think that it's a question of whether should tokens be integrated into the game or not, especially when you are a Web3 game by nature. But I do think that developers and projects in general just need to be a lot more careful and think ahead when it comes to making such implementations. I'm going to call Layer 1 next right now to the stage to give us their own opinion. So please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm of the fan that if you design a token, it should really have some sort of utility behind it. It gives rhyme and reason for somebody to own it and hold it. Likewise, I feel like once that's brought into a game, I agree with Choice that it's kind of a bolt-on experience. It's not necessarily necessary for the gameplay, but it is what it is. But I'm of the personal belief that games should definitely be focused more on the NFT component of their game, and it goes back to the old Field of Dreams movie with Kevin Costner. If you build it, they will come type of thing. And I'm a firm believer in that. I've built multiple platforms before, and when you go after
Your
this,
age is showing. only us geezers remember that one.
Yeah. I know. I have an old body, but a young spirit. Let's just put it that way. So, but yeah, I mean, when games focus on NFTs, so that's what draws people in, and then you take Fortnite for an example. I can't tell you how many of my kids how much money they've spent on Fortnite, and what do they have to show for it? Something that'll only last them a season, right?
I know you're angry.
What was that? Oh, anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer of games focusing on that, and we are currently working with a couple of games that are going to be using the L1X coin as their in-game currency or in-game token. That way, they can focus on things and not have to worry about the whole tokenomics, the inflationary kind of component of having a coin inside. Plus, with us, a lot of our users, we're kind of putting something together that is very similar to like Hyperplay, where games will basically be able to list themselves on our platform, no matter the chain that they're on, and they'll be able to use the L1X coin as the universal coin that they can use it pretty much in any game that gets listed on us. So that
This is
puts
the
the
way,
power back
man.
to
This
the
is the
people.
way. To quote the Mandalorian, this is the way.
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
we Layer 1 and we talk a lot, so we generally tend to align on a lot of things, I think.
No,
Yep.
that's great, honestly, because it provides some energy for us, and I love the references, just like what Layer 1 is saying right there. It's really important, and again, like one of my questions for later on, for example, was that I wanted you guys to comment on the statement on a statement which said that NFTs are essential for creating value and ownership in Web3 game economies, and I just think that Layer 1 next explained it really well, especially in a space where ownership is valued so much, especially in Web3 games, where one of the defining characteristics of Web3 games is that people now get to own their achievements, they get to own their skins, and they are able to quote unquote like flex them around to others and sell them and make money. So that's definitely a really interesting angle. Mark D, did you have anything to comment on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of about what he was saying, like with Fortnite. Just try and wrap your mind around this for a minute. I'm going to kind of give you like a little story here. But imagine if V-Bucks for the past year were actually tokenized and none of us knew it. And we were buying them with our credit card. We were using them. All the kids were spending them on their skins and everything. But nobody realized that it was actually tokenized, and all this was happening on the back end in the blockchain, and nobody knew about it. Why can't that happen? Why does Why does a game that has tokens have to make it so that people have to use the blockchain? Why can't it just be the in-game asset happens to be a token, whether you decide to sell it or not, or just use it in-game because it's all in-game utility is up to you. The average gamer could come in, take mommy daddy's credit card or whatever, sorry, layer one, and buy whatever the in-game currency is that happens to be a token, use it in the game to buy the skins they want, the weapons they want, do whatever in-game utility that token has. And then if they end up being a native Web3 person who understands that it's a token, they could buy the token, they could trade it, they could do whatever they want, but its main focus is game utility, not being a meme coin.
Yeah,
It definitely can be, and I don't think there's anything technologically preventing us from doing that anymore. But I think that right now, the thing that we're fighting is the idea of these hard currencies in games, which have they're essentially the most centralized token you can find. I've been saying this for years, that the gems that you buy in those games and those bucks or whatever, they're so centralized because the value of that token can be changed overnight by one person with the click of a button, changing a value in a database, and there's no recourse. Like, the only thing you can do is close up shop and go somewhere else and spend more money somewhere else. But by that time, you've been monetized. They got their LTV off you. They'll just onboard somebody else. And I think that's what's stopping it in most cases.
yeah, and again, I agree. And
So you're saying it's the developers that are not allowing it to happen because they're greedy?
I think in a lot of cases, yeah.
so great.
Interesting.
Marty, go ahead. I think you want to say something. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good. You're good. I just said interesting. Like, I didn't really think of it that way. Like, as he's saying it, I'm like, oh wow, that kind of makes sense because you look at the Web2 developers and they keep 100% of the profits on their game, where Web3 developers have the opportunity to give some of the profit back to the community,
and to redistribute it to content creators as well. I mean, there have been games that have been propped up by user-generated content with very little extrinsic reward going to the content creators in most cases. There are some exceptions, like Arc Survival had a really good server moderator program where they had basically like 14, I think it was like 14,000 a month was going back into the community, which I think is amazing, and that's why that community stuck around for so long. Dota used to have really good reward incentives for creating skins and stuff like that, and that kind of all dropped off at some point, and it didn't sustain.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
I agree with the points you guys make. Now, when it comes to developer greed, I don't think. I mean, look, when you're creating a live service game, right? Your aim is to get as much money out as possible, and having that control over the centralized currency within that game is definitely a really powerful factor. One thing you guys need to consider is also the stigma around Web3 and tokenization. So, if you went to a gamer and said that, V-Bucks are now cryptocurrency, especially if you use that specific word cryptocurrency, they would get scared off, right? They would start hating on Epic Games or whatever.
But why do you have to say that? Why do you have to tell them that? Why can't it just be it's an in-game currency?
No.
Why do you have to tell them that it's a crypto thing?
No. I agree.
Like, it could be all on the back end that nobody actually sees those transactions. The technology's there to keep it all on the back end and make it seamless for somebody who has no clue about tokens to be able to utilize blockchain technology in a game without even knowing it.
Yeah, so that was where my point was coming off. So, it's been discussed a lot about the stigma and how we present Web3 games to Web2 gamers. And I think that it comes back to what I said before, where our main advertisement focus should be on the actual fun that the game offers in itself, and then kind of let players discover the mechanics behind it, the Web3 powered mechanics naturally, so that they can both get accommodated with them. And instead of going in and saying, oh my God, this is a scam, they can then look at it and say, this is an interesting technology. Like, I've been using it for a year or so, and it's just amazing. Um, I see that we have only 5 minutes left in here before we close to the hour, and in order to respect everyone's time, we will move forward a little bit with the last question in here. So sorry if anyone wanted to get their point across, but yeah, we're kind of time constricted. So the last thing that I want to touch on about is regulation and compliance, right? So, regulation in the blockchain space is evolving, right? Authorities worldwide are grappling with how to oversee these new technologies. And for Web3 games, especially, navigating this landscape is crucial to ensure compliance and sustainability. The main things that I want you to think about are things like loot boxes, gacha systems that are designed to kind of um, basically get you to trade your time playing those games, and in return you get rewards. You get like let's say a random material, random weapon, etc. So the question is, how do you see regulatory frameworks impacting the sustainability of Web3 game economies, especially when we think about gacha systems like loot boxes, cards, or I don't know, drawings, spinning wheels, or anything like that? Layer 1X, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think even kind of taking it a little bit broader stroke to just regulation. I think there's a lot of talk that has been coming up, especially around like social media and some of these other things that have been kind of coming up. Is it's more of an ethical question, especially with us using AI. Using persuasive technology to kind of lure people into their games, to keep them on there, because right now, and it's been this way for 10 years, it's been a fight for people for screen time. And you look at your own mobile consumption of what apps you like. As soon as you pull out your phone, um, how many times a day do you pull out your phone? And what are your go-to apps that you do, right? And so Facebook and Instagram, they all have their own unique little quirks to how they can get you past 2 minutes. If they can get you past 2 minutes, you're going to stay on there for at least 40 minutes, which gives them amount of time to kind of jump in there and push narratives to you, push ads to you, all these different things, which has raised a lot of questions in the regulatory space of protecting consumer data, protecting all this kind of stuff. And so as we start moving over to Web3, where it's more of a user-owned kind of perspective, like how does that really play into thing? And I think that for a lot of us that don't want regulatory oversight, and I'm not saying that there won't be, I'm saying that if we want to kind of just be in control of it and not let the government step in and tell us how we need to do this, we need to start thinking a lot about the ethical components of it, of like, especially with around AI and how we are going to spoon feed user data into that and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I view it. Is it's more of an ethical thing at this point.
Yeah,
We
and I
need to
think
do
that
it ourselves. If we
yeah,
don't want the regulators to step in, we need to start doing it ourselves. And I think it's better for us to do it because we're on chain. We can legitimately do it.
yeah. Again, thank you for that perspective. I think that looking at the Web3 regulation from an ethical side rather than a centralized point of view is a really great thing. Again, I mean, as the Web3 space keeps developing, the Web3 games naturally they will also implement most of these mechanics. Especially, the greatest thing about sustainability when it comes to this that we already have a model to draw from, the Web2 gaming model. But now we take that and we just amplify it with the blockchain technology when it comes to that. So that's a great point you made there, and I think that is very valid. So let's keep this going for a little more, just because I want to respect everyone's time, and I don't want you guys and I don't want you guys to stay here more than needed. Sango, go ahead, give us your own 2 cents on this.
You're muted, double muted again, Sangho.
Yeah, seems you're
Yeah,
muted.
thank you. Oh man. I'll make it even shorter. I said I'm gonna make it short, so other people can also talk. So I just ate my own time. But it's very important to think about regulation because, we talk about traditional gaming, closed economies, moving to blockchain games, open economies. People can earn an income in a game. So taxes can come look around, so governments can maybe want to tax it. But the most important thing is, for us, we are a game primarily, and we are a game that is all about making money in that game because we are a tycoon style, civilization style game. So we're not a shooter, we're not anything else. It's all about making money, being productive. And in our game, all these things represent real world value. So for us, it's really important to think about regulation. The stance we have now, we have a lot of utility attached to our token. Unfortunately, I couldn't explain it in the previous round, but you can read it all about this on our website or watch a video. So, and I think that's the crux. So if you have utility, then you don't need to be afraid of regulation. If you don't have utility, then I would worry already. And with that, there's also a positive side to the regulation. I know people don't like regulation, but if it's for protection of consumers, then I'm all for it. And especially the projects that don't have any utility. And those are, the first waves or the second waves of play to earn. But even still today, there are games that have no utility and there are more speculative, only about making money and trying to, sell their backs to the next one. These projects are really in trouble because these are securities. There's no utility whatsoever there. So in that sense, I think regulation is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that
for
point.
The good projects. Yep.
Yeah, again, thank you very much for that point. It totally does make sense. Mark D, give us your opinion on this, and then we can,
Yeah, I'll make it quick because I got to dip. I got another space got to be on. But yeah, regulations are super important. And when it comes to like the chess and everything, maybe I don't know because I'm not a builder or anything like this, but maybe you could make the chess something that's not tied to crypto at all whatsoever, but is also something cool in the game. Like you could have chess that give timers that let you speed up and you don't have to spend as much time doing something, but they have absolutely no tie to crypto whatsoever. Maybe that's a way around some of the regulations. But great space, man. I hate to dip on you, but I do have to be on another one here.
Yep.
So awesome space,
Totally.
and I appreciate you having me up here.
No worries, no worries. Thank you very much for being here today. Bye-bye, man. So, with that, the 1 hour mark, and I think it's best that we end it in here in order to respect everyone's time. So, before we end, I just want to call on everyone in here, give your final words, your call to action, shout out your socials or whatever, and just give us a short um, closing statement before we end this. So we can start.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead, DeFi Racer.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to hop in because, I didn't have much to say, on the side of regulations and things, maybe that's not my expertise, but yeah, I do agree with a lot of the sentiment that, everyone was saying there. We do have to be forward thinking with these things and kind of self-regulate ourselves as well, and at least be aware of, what things could come. Definitely happy to be up here on the space again. I do have another one to hop on as well, but did just want to chime in and say, thanks for having me up here again. Definitely another good discussion. I think the sustainable Web3 economies is something that we're just going to have to keep talking about and pointing out what things are working, what things aren't working, and kind of working through together for sure. But yeah, thanks for having me up here again.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for being here. Sir Choice, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Same here. I also gotta jump on another space, but it's always a pleasure sharing a panel with you guys, learning a lot. Thank you, Layer One, DeFi's Razor. I see Sheena on the audience. Big shout out to you. Hope that you and the family are doing great. And yeah, excited always to participate and looking forward to the topic next week. Thank you, Castle. Keep rocking. I'll try to install the game now that it's on Harvey Play, and I'll give you some feedback next time, okay?
Yep, perfect. Thank you very much for being here. Let's go next. Layer One, give us some final words.
Yeah, definitely echo what Choice was saying. Just need to test a lot of things. I'm a firm believer that no one in crypto is going to have the right answer themselves. It's going to be a collaborative effort. That's why the very ethos of Layer 1X is to unite all chains, unite all projects, and unite all users across Web3 to kind of create that utopia view that we have for that seamless experience. And so I'm always looking forward to speaking on these things because it's always interesting to see how we can collaborate and synergize together. And thanks to our host, Castle of Blackwater. As always, great to be on Spaces with you. I think you got some great future topics coming out of this episode today for sure.
Yep, and I mean, next time we'll also maybe market this better because this time we kind of had a bit of a mishap, but that's fine. So, Silver Folks, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all those who tuned in to the space. Awesome panel. Always love speaking with you guys. Come check us out on silverfox.so. Layer One, always fun being on space with you. Castle of Blackwater. LM, you've been an amazing host, man. Really enjoyed your space today. So yeah, do follow everybody if you can, and we'll catch you in the next one, hopefully.
Thank you very much. And to end today, Sango, give us your own closing statement.
Yes, thank you very much. We firmly believe in the decentralization narrative and about, giving power back to the people, people getting back in charge of the digital identities. And that's what we're building. So we're building a game that is fully decentralized and, you can monetize your time. So it's not us that make money. Of course, we need to keep, the engine running. So there will be a small percentage of tax so we can run the business. But the majority goes back to the gamers. So the gamers really have a player-to-player economy. And if they want to monetize their time, they can. If they don't want and just have fun, it's also okay. But they have choice. And I think that's very important. We have a very nice airdrop running, so you can experience it yourself. How we approach things. We do it differently from all the other airdrops. So come check us out on our website, cryptopia.com. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about the project and give my thoughts, my 2 cents. Thank you for the hosting. Great job. And I hope to catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Now, before we end this, I must say that we have a game night running right now. So make sure to join our Discord. Make sure to follow all of our speakers in here. Thank you very much. And I'll catch you guys next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.